Come on.
It's Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Welcome to the Whatnot Podcast. I'm MikeZ.
Yeah, it's been so long. I think I'm still Chris.
Yes, you are. And joined with us today is John and Michelle.
Yeah, no trying to guess which one's who now. We know who we're going to look at.
Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So, Chris, I'll let you start this one off.
All right. Well, first off, we did miss last week. We apologize for that. Life interfered, I guess is the best way to put it. But we are back with a gusto, and we're so excited to have those a couple with us tonight. They do a lot of really cool stuff. They're what think it's professionals at everything, right?
No.
They do a lot of sort of unique sort of oddity pieces and set themselves apart. So we're kind of, been trying to figure out who it is we're talking to every Wednesday night. So now we've locked it in.
Absolutely. And of course, joined with us is Kyle. He's here, Mr. Ely.
Woohoo. He must set an alarm or something.
That's to wake up so he doesn't fall asleep.
Wondered what that sound was.
So we are the Whatnot Podcast. We can be found at Captivate.fm, all of your favorite podcast sites that you want to choose, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever works for you. We are there. Chris is part of Crisscross Crafts. That is his Instagram. If you'd like to check out more with Chris, you can go there, or on Facebook. He's on both. For myself, I am at DuffStyle1. If you want to follow along on some of the weekend stuff that I do with finishing, more than welcome. And, of course, our guests are at John Michelle McNeill for McNeill's Wooden Creations on Instagram.
You make those deer heads behind you there?
Not the deer heads, just the plaques.
They got to be mounted to something.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys do some cool stuff, man. I'm kind of excited to kind of hear.
Thank you.
Hear more about what all you guys are doing, how you got started and everything. So
I guess the way we got started, it's been just a long time coming. We've piddled with wood for many, many years. Basically just with things around the house. Then whatever sparks our interest, would get an idea and start planning out, start making it, and then kind of got into the CNC realm and brought us back to some of our furniture industry days, and then started looking at things to make, and then hunting and fishing is one of our interests. So I guess that's the one thing that I gravitated to. Then Michelle, she does a lot of the home decorating, and that's where the lanterns, interior signs, those ideas come from.
Okay. So when you say you had the furniture background, I know you'd sent me this huge bio about it, so we'll post that with the on the podcast when we actually go to upload it so everyone can find out more. But tell us about the background for both of you as far as furniture industry goes.
I started out 1990, way back in the 1900s. started with Henredon Furniture. They were pretty big name in the game back then, and worked with Henredon for 17 years. Started out as low entry, basically an off bearer. I don't know how much anyone would know about that, but it's basically you stand at the end of a big machine and you take off parts and put them on a pallet.
Okay.
Went from that to a technician, which is nothing more than a glorified gopher. You go for this, go for that. Then got into operating one of their larger CNC machines. Did that for 2 or 3 years and was able to move into product design, which basically takes one-to-one scale drawings, makes part drawings for that, put bill of materials together, and put a packet together for the floor to actually make the actual piece of furniture.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for Broyhill for a while, so I'm familiar with how a lot of those big furniture companies operate on the lines. You just kind of just stand there and wait for it to do its job, and you offload. So
yeah, I don't know. Did you familiar with the tenor machines, panel saws, things of that nature? Those can be pretty fast paced, especially when you had one of the older gentlemen that like to see the young fellas sweat. They would crank those machines up, and you would be hustling and be looking for the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
They got to put you through the ringer, though. I think that's just
yeah,
a way of doing it.
Rite of passage.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to see who's going to stay and who's be out the door.
Yep.
I was trying to figure out. I was looking at one of your posts. I was trying to figure out what you've got. What an Hshark HD3?
I believe it's the 2. It's one of the older Sharks. It was the white HDPE.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 12 by 24 machine. I believe the machine came with a HDPE, or not HDPE, but a MDF board for the spool board.
Mm-hmm.
But my machine actually has the blue T-track table on it now. I actually bought it that way. I bought it secondhand.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to identify. That's kind of what I thought it was, but I didn't want to come right out and say that's what it was. But I thought that's what it was. Those are some of those older machines do pretty well.
I've been happy with mine. The only thing I am limited with the size of project that I can put across it. Sometimes I'm able to split those projects up and then maybe do it on a pattern router.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I nothing wrong with that. You get them done either way, right?
That's true. It's as long as I can get the projects out for the customer at a decent time where they're not having to wait on me.
Yeah, I got a couple waiting on me right now that are screaming pretty hard, but hey, it is what it is when your house has giant holes and mold all in it. You gotta take priorities.
there's sometimes you have to put the shop on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my question for you would be that my standard factory question: do you have all 10 fingers?
I do.
Okay.
Are all 10 yours?
I plead fifth.
So, Michelle, what about yourself? You said you were in the furniture industry as well?
No, I've been in the medical field.
Medical field. Okay.
91. And I think probably just he rubbed off on me a little bit. But I actually designed a couple of lanterns for this past year. And I like to do that. I like to crochet a lot too.
You didn't send any pictures of crocheting. We'll jump through all the. You guys sent a lot of pictures, so everyone knows. If you're listening to this, you won't be able to see it, but there is a lot of pictures. If you check out the YouTube or Facebook live stream of this, you'll be able to see them because there's quite a bit of projects you guys have gotten into.
All the more reason to download the audio to listen, and then go to YouTube and watch.
There you go. Not
I
bad.
like the distressed finishing on the stuff too. I usually put a coat of stain, then paint over it with paint, and then sand, make it look like it's old.
The
Yeah, so
new
usually
old.
when I finish, I'm the one that's usually stressed.
Yeah, he kind of, not that he gets into a panic, but he's kind of, sometimes he's called up and just said, hey, what do I do about this? It happens.
We can't all be MikeZ's. Make it look effortless.
I think Mike and I need to get together and do a collaborative event where I'll make it and let him finish it. It's guaranteed, no matter how bad I make it, he's going to make it look good.
Whenever someone asks me if I'll finish it, I always ask, are you going to sand it? Or do you want me to sand it? Because that makes all the difference.
You're going to sand it.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Appreciate that. Your price just doubled. Well, let's check out here. So is this for someone in the family? It's it looks like not a crib. It's a rocking.
It was a cradle for a friend that I worked with while we were at Henredon.
Okay.
This was for their first child.
Very nice. Now, do they still have it?
They do.
Very cool. Yeah, I saw what you're doing. Don't worry. Here, you know what? Try it again. And so yeah, you'll get more opportunities. So what do we have here?
Those were a pair of cabinet doors for a sailboat, actually.
Oh.
We have a neighbor that used to have a sailboat, and that they were remodeling and asked us to make these doors for them. They actually brought the existing doors from the boat, and I used those as patterns, which actually made the process really easy.
That does make it a lot easier, yeah.
What kind of wood is that?
Ash.
Wow.
I like that grain, especially on that door on the left. I like that sort of eyeball looking thing going on right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
No, those turned out great.
Yeah.
So which parts of this? Yeah.
That would be a vanity I made for my oldest daughter, made from barnwood, white oak barnwood.
So you left the distressing and everything I see on the ends of the drawers there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks cool.
And even the top, I'd tried to leave as much saw marks as I could.
Now, what did you? Okay, so with the saw marks, because I can see them there in the top, did you sand enough to where they were very smooth? So therefore, when you put your finish on, you still had the look, but they didn't have that rough feel to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What I did is took the boards and planed them a rough plane, glued the top up, and then went back over it went through all the grits of sandpaper, and then started. It's a poly finish, so I just started building layers of finish.
Okay.
Just to try to get it up.
And I take it the mirror was a matching barnwood to go with that.
Yes.
Very cool. I like the tapered legs.
I guess that's one thing that I like to do, kind of go Team Chamfer.
There you go. Sorry, that's another one for Team Chamfer. Oh, Kyle says he would like to collab with me as well. Same terms. Okay, I'll sand it. Sure. Let's see how this is going to be. So, coffee table with glass. Now, is that the same barnwood, or is that just similar?
No, that is it's white oak, but it's a different. That came from the box store. The base part of it, legs, aprons, support rails were reclaimed, but it has a plywood shelf, and then the oak frame came from the box store, glass inserts. It also had a leather insert.
Oh. Now, that box on top that's holding the jars there, is that like a driftwood or more barnwood?
That's driftwood, I believe. I believe that's a gift she received in her wedding.
Okay. It looks cool. Well, overall, I like the splines too. I mean, there's a lot of technical woodworking going on in here.
Yeah.
You're not just hacking it together. This is a lot of good stuff.
Well, we try to. We appreciate it. It's like the splines. That's something that it's over the years you didn't use it, but then you saw where you should have. So then you start applying all these techniques where previous fails came in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to do it, is just learn as you go. And then if you see, because it also adds a really nice detail to it.
It does.
It's not just a miter corner. Like, you have that nice detail to it. I like that a lot. What do we have here? Deer heads?
Deer heads. This was an outdoor expo, and probably, I guess, this was our first craft show. It's
before COVID.
Yeah, but it was 2018.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
so.
And we just kind of went all out making different taxidermy items. Michelle, she had quite a few lanterns, lamps. Something she didn't mention, she also likes to decorate or use flowers in a lot of her pieces as well.
Now, with the North Carolina, how did you do the ocean part, the in area water?
It was epoxy. I took and routed out just with a hand router, routed out a recess, and painted the inside with an acrylic paint and filled it with clear epoxy.
Very cool. No, I like the color of it.
Yeah.
I take it these are ornaments.
They are. This was probably our second craft show. It was a Christmas ornament show where we took wreaths and the ornaments. Seems like a lot of the North Carolina items that we do are really popular. Even though we try to branch out into other things, but it seems like they don't do as well as when you have a North Carolina item.
It's a very signature shape to a state. It's a lot better than Wyoming, which is just a square.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that. It's very iconic. And who doesn't love North Carolina?
For sure.
And those, I'm taking those other ones on these here were CNC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And so what is this one here?
That is a branding iron that we made. I actually made it off the Hshark. It's brass, used 16th upcut and a 30-degree V-bit.
Very cool.
But that actually it taxes my little router pretty well. I don't know that I'll be doing many more metal items.
Gotcha. Still pretty. I didn't even think to do that. To me, that is pretty cool that you could actually engrave brass to a way to make it into a branding iron.
Mm-hmm. It's I mean, you can. There's quite a few people out there that make them, but I'm sure they have more of a milling machine type CNC than just a hobbyist router.
In order to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's with brass and aluminum being a non-ferrous metal, it will machine, but I can tell the last branding iron that I did, it taxed my machine pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, the right bit will make a world of difference, but on a machine that operates, see that one runs off of a router, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the other downside is the router in regards to doing that. There's just too much movement and deflection in the spindle of those little routers.
Yeah, and also the ball screw that I guess screws through the brackets. I guess a hard plastic. So there is some flex even with it being a hard plastic that way.
Gotcha.
Now this is pretty. This looks like walnut with an inlay.
It is. It's the V-carved inlay that you can do with Carve Right, or not Carve Right, but V-carve.
Vectric.
Where you route the recess, and then on the maple piece, you route the opposite, and then fit them together, and then take the excess off the top to expose the shape.
Okay, gotcha. What was this finished with?
It's just a poly. I haven't ventured out past poly, other than one time I did use WaterLocks.
And what'd you think of WaterLocks?
I liked it. The application that I tried, it was more of the I guess wool pad. It wasn't wool pad. It was, those applicators that you can get for stain when you stain your deck.
Yeah.
A lot of the fibers came out of that applicator. But since then I've seen people where they would just use a towel or a kind of like a French polish.
Okay. There was a lady that I knew that did she would do pantyhose, and she would take a sock and put it inside of that. So therefore the silkiness of the outside of the hose gave her the texture. And she said that was an old factory trick that they used to do all the time for almost like a French polish, but it was more for tables and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to give that a try, because most of the time I will just fold up an old T-shirt, cut squares out, fold it up, to where you have a small application area, and then apply 3 to 4 coats. I usually will thin it out 1-to-1 and apply it.
And that's with the WaterLocks or with the regular poly?
The poly, the WaterLocks I use just the straight formula on the WaterLocks.
Yeah, I like WaterLocks for a lot of I call them utilitarian finishes. If you're going to have something where you're going to beat it up, or it's going to be like, I just had a gentleman today, we were talking about countertops, and he was doing the butcher block countertop, and he wanted to go with water base. And I was telling him that I think WaterLocks would be better just for the fact that you can beat it up. You can do whatever you want to, because that finish hardens inside the wood. So it becomes part of the wood. So if you drop something and dent it, the finish is going to go with that. It's not going to, shatter or flake off, basically. It's not a film coating.
And that was actually the project that I used it on, was a countertop.
Yeah, it works good.
Yeah, this was going to kind of a wet area. This kind of a grooming area for their dogs.
Okay,
is what they were going to use it for.
Let's take a look here. So, tell me about this fireplace insert.
This it's pine from the big box store. I had the constraints of the actual rock fireplace that I had to adhere to, and then also the insert that went inside the surround. And I had to build this to where basically in 4 pieces, I had a bottom panel, 2 end panels, top front rail, and then a top panel that all had to be assembled on site. And even had to fit the surround to the actual fireplace. I made it parts bigger than I needed to where I could actually scribe and fit to the fireplace.
Dang, that's a lot of work right there.
It was fun. To be honest with you, I enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad that was you doing it, not me.
Yeah, I've done enough of those in my day. I don't like doing all that scribe work. It's too much work involved.
There's somebody that had a video somewhere where they were scribing with the angle grinder and a flap disc. And I really wish I had thought of that back in the day when I had to do scribing, because that would have made life a lot easier and faster.
It's actually what I used. For the life of me, I can't think of the name, but it's the abrasive wheel that you put on an angle grinder. They look like they have little needles coming out of them, and it's really works well.
Kind of like the now I'm drawing a blank, like the Galahad from King Arthur, things like that. Like it's carbide.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're colored. Some of them are blue, gold, red. That just indicates the different grits of the carbide, I guess.
Yeah, if you're talking gold, it's probably going to be Kutzall. Good stuff, either way. And so far, Michelle, what have you finished out of these? Where's your thing come in? Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Would be the lanterns.
So fishing rods, wall mount.
Yep. 4 fly rods. Had a fellow that I worked with had a request for this. This going back to its black walnut, mortise and tenon on the supports, and then going with a poly finish.
Okay. So no Craig jig was required for that one?
Not on that one. Nope.
And I take it this is more CNC work, more engraving.
It is. Yep.
Okay. Now, how did you apply the black? What was your technique for this one?
Actually carved the design deeper than I need. And basically, after it comes off the CNC, do a rough sanding with 80 grit, and then flap sand the actual design or where the router has cut out, and then go over it with 1 or 2 coats of either a sanding sealer or poly again. Let that dry, and then flood the design with the black paint, and then go back over it and sand it back off.
Okay, so there's a couple. So is there Sound like a couple of coats of black on there just to really get it to pop, because it's pretty black.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, it's definitely depth of color.
Need to get you some more mask. That stuff's like magic.
I've seen that from I think Tools Today, maybe.
They have it. Yep. And then
Yeah.
Chris got some for Klingspor's Woodworking Shop. We
Okay.
carry it now at the day job.
Okay.
We
But
haven't.
Yeah, that is a game changer right there. I mean, it's first time I tested it, it made a world of difference. I mean, you can seal it before you put, get it all sanded the way you want it, seal it up the way you want it, put the order mask on it, and then when you carve away, the order mask stays, and then you can either spray a black lacquer or a colored lacquer, or you can use like a milk paint, either way,
okay.
or some other kind of paint. And I've been using a lot of the Mohawk black. I can't remember what it's called. It's just a black lacquer essentially, and it goes on so fast. It dries quick. It doesn't pull the grain up from the carved areas, which means that once I carve it, I can hit it with a quick coat of that, let it dry. Maybe if I need to touch it up again, especially if it's a real detailed area, peel that ore mask off, and man, it's super clean lines. It's unreal.
I know one thing that I found if I carve a real soft wood or a porous wood like white oak, if I don't shoot some type of sealer down into the carving, the paint will actually bleed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I use that Zinsser seal coat quite a bit on my stuff. And especially because you've now gone from surface grain to end grain where that's carved out.
Yeah.
That seal coat dries so fast, and it'll really bring the grain out. So that's probably one of my go-tos if I don't straight away spray it with some kind of lacquer or sealer, like an easy vinyl or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the nice part about having that black, it's a colored lacquer enamel is what Mohawk calls it, and it's a black, and it comes in different sheens. So whatever you want, you could be flat, it could be higher gloss. But what's really nice about it is that it's a little amount, goes a long way, and it dries really quickly, so you can move on and keep going whatever you got to do.
Yeah, I've done a couple pieces using that where the piece itself was a satin or a matte, but I used a semi-gloss or a gloss in the carved area, and that really does make a difference. It makes the letters pop.
Oh, there we go. And
this is the project where I use the WaterLocks.
okay,
Sorry, I'm
just
going
on the
into PTSD right now, seeing that water heater sitting over there. Sorry.
Yeah, that was fun. That water heater had to come out. We had to replace some of that tongue and groove siding or paneling on the sides of the walls. That was about a 1 month project between shop time and install.
Yeah, I like the sheen on that countertop. So does all of it have water locks or just the countertop?
Just the countertop.
Okay.
The cabinets were stained with poly.
And the horseshoe pulls adds a little bit of texture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kept. This was basically a stables for horses, and then they had the family dogs, which they would bring in and wash in that.
Oh, okay. Kind of like a washroom.
Yep.
And then this one here, it looks like the same countertop that we saw in the first photo, just a different angle.
It is. This is basically a work table with shelving and pegboard behind it.
It looks really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that little apron you put on the front of those shelves. That kind of makes it. It really does make it kind of look cool.
That was aesthetic. Plus, it helps with the sagging of the shelf.
Yeah, that also gives it that it has a fuller look without having to actually use that thick of a piece.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice
Well,
touch.
Well, and see what a lot of people do is just put it on there like a piece of edging, so it's like a lip hanging down on the face of it. You kind of had that recessed back and put it on the bottom. That just gives it a completely different look. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
you put that little design on the end. So I mean, that's just a small touch, but I mean that makes a world of difference. You know, when you're looking at something like that.
That design, I believe they call a chamfer.
No,
I just had to bust your chops. Come on. So here's the lanterns.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what are the triangle ones in the middle?
That is Christmas trees.
Okay. And same process where you stained them, paint them, and then distress them?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. So was this for a Christmas show after that initial one that we saw with the North Carolina ornaments?
That's 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yep.
And the doors that are off to the left there, is that someone else's booth to separate?
It is. It's kind of this area was an old industrial textile mill, and they had quite a few antiques scattered through the area.
Yeah, I like that cabinet in the background. That secretary looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I really like these lanterns. So are they using like an LED candle?
Yes.
Okay.
And the top and the bottom are metal.
Oh, okay. So if someone wanted to put a candle in there, then they could safely.
Yeah.
That sounds like an enthusiastic yes to me.
not responsible for fire damage due to
Not
improper candle use.
responsible for.
If it tips over, it tips over. That's not on us. All right. So let me hear about the Jolly Roger license plate.
It's aluminum, piece of 1/4 inch aluminum. This was our second metal project. It's pretty simple, to be honest with you. The design came from Pirates of the Caribbean. Used the sketch feature in VCarve. Route out and cut out the outside for the holes, and also for the design. Took flat black paint before the carving. If I remember correct, I used the painter's tape and super glue technique to hold it down.
Okay. Yeah, so I like how the natural raw aluminum is what's standing out here. Looks really cool.
It is. And also, we put some LED lights in the actual eye sockets of the skull.
I see that. So I was going to ask you if that was just carved out or if that was something. So when they turned on the fog lamps or the parking lights, they would come on?
Yep.
Very cool.
Okay, I'm gonna need to see another photograph at night.
I have one. If you go to our Instagram, I think you can see one. I think I even posted a video of it.
And their Instagram is John Michelle McNeill. 2 L's on everything at Instagram. Let's see. Bookcases.
Mm-hmm.
That looks fun.
It wasn't too bad. That was one of our earlier pieces. That was more of a barter piece. Had the client made a throw for us in exchange for the cabinet.
The original economy.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I like that. Oh, this is nice. No
RV
CNC?
Yep, that was one of our, I guess, initial types of getting the business started. They're not as popular as we would hope they had been, but we've done a few.
Okay. And they're custom order then, that you kind of have the template, and then the people would say what last name they want, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Last name. I've even put a few graphics on the actual camper to match the customer's camper.
That is important, those details. And you use it, and everything's through, Vectric?
Yes.
Okay.
Vectric Pro. Haven't ventured into the Aspire part of it yet.
Well, we know where you can go to learn all about it. That would be learnyourcnc.com.
I was waiting to see how Chris is going to throw that one in there. So
I knew you'd pick up on that one. Very good.
Not sponsored. Thank you, Kyle. We appreciate you. Let's see here. Okay, so this is different. Is this painted by you or by an artist, and then you made the frame?
That is painted by my daughter. The frame, barnwood frame. But the artist is my oldest daughter.
Very, very good work.
Well, I see the talent just continued on in the gene pool there.
Yeah.
If we could get her to expand on it, seems like they don't.
They don't realize it when they're young.
Fair enough. I don't think any of us did.
Yeah.
I was too stupid to learn anything else.
So are these the same ash doors we saw earlier?
Same boat, different doors. Those are the hatch doors, I guess, that go down into the cabin of the boat. Same concept. He brought me the existing doors, and then I used those as templates.
Gotcha. No, because that would definitely be a lot easier with a template with those angles.
Mm-hmm.
Without a template, it would have been going back to your favorite thing, Chris, scribe.
Yeah. Are those roundovers at the bottom of that door?
Nice try. Nice try. If my chamfer didn't work on those shelves.
That is a radius corner there.
Oh, that's how you put that. Yeah, that would have been one of those ones where I said, let me just have the frame. That'd be, I just want to cheat. Let me have the frame. We got a big W on the fireplace mantle.
Yep, that's wall art. That was actually for a wedding we did for a couple. They ordered some lanterns for their reception tables, and then this W was for decoration around I think the altar that they were at the venue.
Okay.
And then they brought it home and decorate their home with it.
Very cool. Another lantern. This one not painted though.
Almost looks like a podium.
That is a pretty good size lantern. How tall? About 20?
It's 22 by 11 by 11.
Yeah.
No, that's almost tall enough to be a podium for me anyway.
No, that's pretty cool. And so what is your stain of choice?
That is early American.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we really like that stain. I love it. It makes it look
Early American.
older. I mean, old, yeah.
It's a Minwax.
Yeah. It's okay, Chris. It's okay.
Just lost points on the respect card. Right there.
Not at all. Not at all. Everyone can use Minwax. There's nothing wrong with it. Just don't use it in combination with water-based top coats. That's all we're gonna say.
Bad outcome, huh?
Yeah. Actually, around 2018, there was a rash of Minwax that would not dry.
Oh.
And we had customers that were calling us, and of course, they're using the General Finishes top coat, or they would use the Minwax top coat, and they'd still call to find out why it turned white. And what it was that they were letting it dry for 3-4 weeks before they put it on there because it was still tacky. And the problem was the moisture, it wasn't drying fully. So therefore, when they put the water based on, it just locked the moisture in and turned white on them. So it was milky. Almost looked like not a whitewash, but it was like a milky streakiness to it because of the brush.
Yeah.
So from what I can tell, they got that fixed, but that was a rash of fun for me. So this is the first picture I came across when I checked out your Instagram.
That would be a plant stand. A lot of people that we've seen would put them on outside of their front door on a porch.
Okay.
You can hang a
hanging basket.
Hang your plants on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the particular finish here is a very blue stain. Is that another type of Minwax product, or how did you get this blue color?
Actually, that was a gray, right?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
supposed to make it look like barnwood, and it doesn't do that very well, but I just thought it was pretty for the outside.
It makes it pop against that silo right there for sure.
Yeah, it looks like a wash coat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, gray in my eye, I see blue to it, but what's really nice to it is that it can very much pass as barnwood or something that was painted and it's just aged off, but you still have that stain from the paint because old milk paints would do that. If it eventually fell off, you'd have that staining from the pigment. It's pretty cool.
We did another one on that and I burned it. I burned the wood.
Did you like that process?
I do like that process.
Yeah, me too.
Well, you don't have it in the background there. Chris made that North Carolina where he CNC'd everything out, made it topographical, so it's 3D, but he burned the outside edges to give that to make the center of the state pop.
Mm-hmm.
I think he enjoyed the burning process pretty well on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire.
Well, that flag I made also had that burn, and that's where I kind of got the fever for doing some, the firebug. So
I was really hoping he'd pull a Beavis, but he never did.
I'm going to go with Butthead.
Butthead, there you go. Oh, he does do fire. You're right. All right, so same boat, more ash.
Correct. Folding table.
Very nice.
fire.
Do I have a bigger picture to cover you up with? Oh, you know what? I do. Oh, it's not that much bigger. So tell us about the Small Business Center Network for North Carolina.
Here in our area, it's through the Mainland Community College. They offer a lot of business classes, tutorials, seminars, all the way from getting started, business plans, taxes, how to turn in your taxes. If anyone is looking for help and going to actually start a business, check out your local small business through your community college. They offer a multitude of courses and seminars where I just about guarantee you, if you are looking for or have a question, they can answer it, or they will have a class coming up that can help you. They also offer one-on-one counseling. Even sometimes when the state will have grants available through the community college that will help individuals.
Okay.
Our local director is Alan Cook, close to the Western North Carolina area.
Gotcha. So if you wanted to know more about small business and the Small Business Network, definitely check out a local community college.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Usually it's a state funded type of network, and this one is. But no, I think this is really cool.
Yeah, it's if anyone is serious, and I guess I would, we do not take it, use it to our full advantage. But I mean, you could really get
deep into some of that.
You could.
Good deep. So you don't have to necessarily rely on Facebook groups to ask questions like that. You also have that resource.
Yes. And they, as far as us, they helped us set up the business, get our tax ID numbers, set up the LLC for us,
Cool.
walked us through it. It was a big help.
Yeah, I've been debating whether to do that myself. I've just still running as self-employed for now.
Well, if you need help on that, you can always visit www.ncsb.net if you're in North Carolina to find out more about the Small Business Center Network.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, not that we're getting close to the end, but I do want to definitely say thank you to both of you, whichever one is always watching during the cast. We appreciate you guys for being there since the beginning and having fun with us whenever we, ask who it is, because it's always John and Michelle that pop up. So we're never quite sure, and then, have a little fun with that. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, she's like, I wouldn't be caught dead watching them fellas. I'll tell you what.
She just came for the sweet tea. That's all.
They're going to talk about my lantern, so I'm going to show up for that, but that's it.
Oh.
She will sit over on the couch and do her crocheting, and while I plug in and listen, I'll get to giggling and laughing, and she'll look over at me like, what?
Them idiots on that show again. I'll tell you what.
I don't know what they're talking about, but it's pretty funny.
It's hilarious sometimes.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Are you sure you're listening to our show?
Yeah.
Oh,
What
yes.
Not podcast. Okay. By the way, totally not sponsored, but we appreciate the love. So if you enjoy as much as John and Michelle do, even though Michelle's just watching over at the side, always make sure to check out patreon.com whatnot podcast so you can help us keep doing what we enjoy doing. And we can announce at this point that we are somewhat sponsored. We do have a sponsor on board, so we're getting more. If you want to help sponsor us from the comfort of your own couch, Patreon's the way to do it. But again, John and Michelle are at Instagram.com, John Michelle McNeill, 2 L's on both. What you got, Chris?
I don't say it. We've got a pretty good slate of people coming up over the next couple weeks, and so looking forward to that. And going to hopefully keep getting better and get through the month of October, and hopefully we all survive. Our work life and my home life right now is just trying to make sure that Whatnot Podcast stays number 1 on Wednesday nights
from here on out, right?
Yeah, at least until my grandson's born, and I may have to just go to Louisiana for a week or two. But other than that, yeah, I'm here.
And
that's
yes.
a good reason.
Yeah, that's a very good reason. I've already told him, just take the 2 weeks off. He's like, no, I'll be back. I'm like, I'll do it from the hotel. And I'm like, no, just enjoy that time. Don't worry about the podcast. We'll come back to it.
Exactly.
Don't miss that one. Because I can't imagine that, your grandchild's born and they're like, guys, I appreciate it. I'll be back, though. I got to run to the hotel room. Like, no.
Yeah. Pop's got a 9:00 meeting. I'll see you at 11.
Yeah.
Oh, Pop. Is that what we can start calling you?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
it doesn't matter what I say. Everybody's going to call me whatever they want anyway, so it doesn't matter.
They do anyway, right?
Yeah.
Some things good, some things bad. I've heard it both ways.
I have considered as a gag / test, since I have to do a lot of base molding in my house now that all my floors are getting redone, that I was going to do half of the room with just a simple piece of square stock with a chamfer on it, and the other half with a round over on it, and just see which one I like best. Maybe one would win me over the other.
Oh, you know what'll win?
Yeah, round over.
No.
Team Chamfer. Oh. Well, see, Gary says that you got to do that grandpa thing. He's got 8 grandkids, and they are the best. So I got to know, is it grandpa for you, Gary? Because you're in Utah, so you don't have that North Carolina way of calling it every possible way to call a grandparent. I'm still learning new ways. I've only been here 10 years this time. Still learning new ways to call grandparents.
We need to see your list.
Oh, Lord. I still have trouble. My wife makes fun of me for pawpaw.
Pawpaw.
Yeah, because I say it wrong. And I'm like, I gave up on it. I'm like, that guy. But I'm learning. There's ways to say it. I just got to figure it out. And I also have a problem with pastor and pasture. I didn't know that. So there's a little fun fact for you. Mike can't say words.
So I guess if you go to the church and you sit through a sermon, and at the end you've been pasteurized.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that my son said the same thing. He's like, so when you go to church, who talks to you? I was like, okay, I know. But see, both Papa and Grandpa, depends on the grandkid. There you go. Well, I want to say thank you again for both of you being on, sharing the small business network with us. So therefore we can tell people if they didn't know, they can find out more. Definitely check out maybe your local community college or small business network. I think smallbusiness.gov is a website for the nation, and see if there's any programs local to you if you're starting out on a home business.
Yeah, and you were worried you coming on, you didn't have anything to show or talk about, and you didn't do anything special. Listen, we're What Not Podcast. Everybody's welcome. And you do a lot of really cool stuff. So don't ever put yourself down and say you don't, because you got a unique product there, and especially with her beside you, you're going to go far.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
You got it.
We enjoy the podcast every week.
Well, you do.
Well, we appreciate you watching and then joining us for this, because if anything, I like to be able to bring the fans on, people who watch, but are also people who make and do things with their hands. That makes it even more interesting and fun.
If we can ever give any help to anybody, just throw us a chat or DM.
Will do. So everyone, remember, it is John Michelle McNeill on Instagram and on Facebook. Right?
Go like, go share, go bookmark, go whatever. Go check them out.
Do it all at the same time.
I guess that is another area. Don't do as we do. We don't utilize social media as much as we could. So
I found out that it works really well if you want to have a portfolio of the work you've done. So if people are they want to ask, what have you done? It works really good to just say, well, if you go to Instagram, you'll see past pieces or whatever. And then that way they get an idea of what you offer. And no matter, just like the ornaments, no matter how small or how something you may have done like 2 years ago, show them on there so people can say, oh, I didn't know you guys could do that. It always comes back around. That's what I've noticed.
Yep. And it's always the real simple stuff that takes off like wildfire. Like, I never would have thought anybody would even wanted one of those. But so, yeah, even the small stuff, man, put it out there. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for joining us Wednesday night. I am MikeZ with the What Not Podcast.
And I'm Chris, and we're hanging with McNeil's.
That's right. Well, thank you again, and I hope you guys have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Later. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.